What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy James 59, and today I haven't done a build order video in a while, but wanted to do this one. Right, we're going to be looking today at 18 pop Lithuanian scouts. Right, the scout rush is something that, in terms of popularity, I believe has waxed and waned in recent years. I think it was not that popular for a while when men-at-arms became so prevalent in the 1v1 meta, and then actually as men-at-arms tend to be countered by archers, which is probably the slowest build, I feel like scouts have come back just a little bit, but still have some of their deficiencies or challenges you have to deal with, but that goes with every build order. So one of the things that is prized, though, are civilizations that can do really ultra fast aggressive scout rushes, and the Mongols are a major one, but probably no slouch to the Mongols on that list. I think that we have the Lithuanians, right? The Lithuanians, I'll talk about them in a second, why they're so useful for this build. But I'm going to put the build up on the screen right now so you can pause this video here if you want to write it down, but I'll also take you through it as well. And this is a team game I played on the ladder recently with a teammate of mine. And let's just go ahead, right? Let's go ahead, start this thing off, kick this thing off, right? We're going to expand the map as well. And one of the reasons that the Lithuanians are so good for a scout rush is that you can see from the data down here is that you start off, in fact, actually, let's look up top, right? You can see, right, we have a bunch of villagers in queue because you start off with 150 food, right? And what this means, you're starting off with this really nice food bonus, and that means you can go up a little bit later. Now this build, I think, is really nice for 1v1s. I think it's also really nice for team games when you're trying to take map control. You're trying to get out early, and I think it's especially good for people playing scouts in 2v2s, right? 2v2s tend to play out a bit differently than 3v3s or 4v4s, where, you know, as a cav player in a 3v3 or a 4v4, you're generally playing in the pocket, and you are a bit safer from the archer player. And one of the problems that you run into when you're the cav player against archers is that an archer player adds 1-2 spears and maybe, you know, 4 or 5 archers, and all of a sudden your 6 or 7 scouts cannot fight against that army. And so, given that a lot of civilizations now can play 20 pop archers, all of a sudden you have civilizations that are really keeping pace with you in terms of numbers. I mean, even sort of a standard 22 pop archer rush can still keep pretty decent pace with a scout player in terms of timings. And I remember when I was learning archer rushes back on the HD days, 23 pop archer rush was the standard, and now I think we're starting to see a lot of even a lot of 21 pop straight archer rushes. So the point is that the archer player and their ability to get a couple of spears and some archers out and be able to keep your scouts at home. You're trying to fight them off. You're playing a lot of defense. It's very distracting, especially for my mid-elo players out there. Being able to get your scouts out early on the field, and if you are in a matchup where the scout player is closer to the archer player, being able to get your scouts out earlier and prosecute the archer player that you're dealing with, especially when you're up against a Britain's player, that's actually pretty useful, because now you can force them to make spears, right, that they may have to keep at home. You can keep them trying to wall up. You can attack a lot of different places. And so that's something that's very useful in this build, right? And so, right, speaking of the build, right, I'm actually going to show you, go back to my base a little bit, because again, I want to show you that right now we don't have any idle TC time, right? And You know, basically when you're doing this build, you're doing it very standard. Scouts at first, right? You're doing 6 to food. You're doing 3 to wood. You're getting another 2 more on food. You're having that villager make the house in the mill. Where it gets a little different is you keep adding villagers to the boar, except for the last 2 that are going to go to the berries. I did lure in a deer for this build. I think it makes it really smooth. You don't have to, but it helps you make things really smooth. And you can see, right, we're up to the next age, 0 idle TT time. Very, very comfortable here. Because I like to go in feudal age, I like to go 8 on wood. I think I've seen some people do 7. I think 8 is perfect for starting to get your barracks up and making sure you have enough wood to go ahead, get the scout up, get the stable up, get your eco upgrades, etc. Right now, we're gonna send a villager out to do those sorts of things. Right, gonna be a little bit late, so you're gonna see me here. Right, I am gonna pull eventually one of these milling villagers, right, to help get that up, and that will be good to go. And so, right, you can see the players, right, we're identifying who's where at this point, right. My teammate is pointing out and where red is, and right, this is a case right here, right. Take a little bit of HP off of that scout. Ooh, almost got him. Right here. Boom, we're up, right? Perfect timing, no idle TC time, doing pretty good here. Getting double bid axe, you can see us doing that right there. So we're getting our big eco upgrades. And hey, we have enough resources to also put down a stable. So this build will get you what you need, right? It will get you what you need. And, right, if you can see let's look at the amount of food we have. We have a ton of food, right, in the queue here. I think I get housed for just a little while here, actually. But as we're trying to get those up, again, that's something you want to worry about with those builds. And right now, honestly, just chilling. You can see, right, nobody else is really even close to feudal age at this point. You know, usually your opponents your scout players should be hitting feudal age probably around this time if they're going 21, maybe a little earlier if they're going for 20. This is a pretty typical time for an archer player, though, right, to be hitting maybe a little late on this. And now what are we doing? We're going in, we're trying to just harass, right? We're trying to keep them at their base. And what you want to do on your end as a scout player, you're buying yourself time to get walled up. Now, the meta in team games is to attack the cavalry player. But one of the ways that 2v2 games, I think, often tend to play out is that because the archer civilization, making just a few spearmen, and then, you know, making some archers to go along with it, has such an advantage, actually, then oftentimes what happens is that, you know, you can actually play this a little bit more as 2 1v1s if you're going to play like this, right? Or you need to get help from your archer player if you're not up fast enough. And what we're doing here is we're creating a lot of panic, a lot of idle time, right? Let's go take a look, actually. Right, okay. The idle time's starting to go up for our purple player. Why? Because we have 4 scouts in this base. We're forcing him to make spearmen. That means he's not going to have enough food to be clicking up, and now we're causing him to fall behind. And meanwhile, what we're doing, we're going ahead, we're going to get walled up at home, because once we get walled up at home, we can move out, right? And what that means, right, is that my teammate then, because he knows he's closer to the next scout, to the next cavalry player, your archer teammate can make a couple spears, go forward, right? And then they have a major advantage. So this is what we're doing here. We're just trying to keep our opponent here at his base, cause him to have some idle time, slow him down, right? You can see, boom, taking out a villager, right? And again, this idle time has been going on for a while, right? Right, what we're trying to do, we're just trying to keep this guy at home, keep him defending, right? You want to attack in a lot of different places, keep him having a micro, right? If he's microing units at his base, right, you can be setting up these big walls, right? Again, this is actually a pretty long base that we're setting up here. All right, he's got 1 range up, still hasn't made any archers, because what can we do here, right? By harassing this area, right, our our opponent here has decided just to go ahead and wall. He's only got 3 villagers, right? He's not going to even be able to run one range effectively there, and we're keeping those archer numbers down because if we can at least, right, we can at least keep our numbers up, keep them good, then that's fine, right? Now, let's pay attention to what's going on in the south, right? We have some archers down here, some scouts looping around that may be caught, right? And it looks like, right, we're seeing a little bit of damage done, but now look at this, right? Look at the spears gonna come out, right? I heard a town center bell. That's something I hope I never hear. And if word to the wise out there, don't hit the town center bell. You don't have to. Definitely don't want to do that. Right? Right. So with this aggression, right, what we've done is we've put our opponent in a pretty vulnerable spot, right? He's to be fair, I think he's overcommitted a bit to spears. But what we're doing is we're keeping very, very active, right? Now he's putting these spears down at this base, and if we can stay active on his base, then what that means is that's less spears that can go forward along with his archers, and we're always kind of threatening, right? And that's what I think ideally you want to be doing. And we can see our red player who's going scouts in, right, in the south, right? Again, doing some damage, making some damage on our ally here, right? And who's fighting it off, right? Pretty decently. And now, guess what? We're about to be walled up at home, right? We're walled up at home. And now, let's go and move out. Now, I think what you want to do, I think that this is a bit late to fully get walled up. But, you know, our teammate, you know, is defending with spears in his base. And now all of a sudden, these scouts can't do that much damage. And so, we took our time, right? We have a lot of scouts here. And so now, we're just moving around and we're chilling, right? So we're just looping around at this point. And you can see we're on the way up now to Castle Age, right? So again, right now you're just playing this build out typically the way you would any sort of Scouts and the Knights build. One thing I like to do with the Lithuanians, I like to make a second lumber camp at about this time, because you can see this one, it's starting to get a little deep, and I like to take some villagers, put them in a bit of a different spot here so we're not churning through all of the wood, right? We're gonna keep it that way. Now, what we're going to do now, right, is go ahead and counterattack, and you're about to see something. Oh, look at this. Oh, it looks like we weren't walled up after all. Disaster, right? Right? Not so good, right? We have... Gosh, I really could have just fought that there. I just reflexively sent the villagers back to base here, but honestly, we could have taken out that one, and that one. So that's a mistake for me, but what I go do, I think I realized it about this time that these scouts are pretty low HP. And I decide just to wall them into my base, right? Part of the problem here is, right, that we're attacking down here at Red's base. And he has a really, really compact base. Kind of hard for us to do a lot of damage. And then we just pull out of there. Seeing that now, right, we're fine. I think we took we may have taken a little loss there. Okay, we lost one villager there, right? And that, so again, not terrible, not that bad, and we're on the way up. Boom. It didn't slow us down that much, right? We did have a little bit of, we have had a little idle TC time. But starting right now, correct that. That's something that I'm trying to get a bit better at, is that when I hit Castle Age, immediately having a villager queued up, and starting to get a little bit better at that. And right now, we're just getting our upgrades, right? If we take a look, right, at how many resources we have plenty of resources to get done what it is that we do need to get done. And that'll be pretty good for us. Meanwhile, right, we're running around our opponent's base. Right, again, we've forced our red player to also go into spears, right? And so right now, we're just trying to cause damage, we're trying to get value, and we're looping up with our ally here in the back of the cavalry player's base, right? So we've kind of let our purple player here chill just a bit. He's back up. He's up to Castle Age now, right? So he's got things figured out again. You know, we kept him at home in the beginning, If he had gone forward, right, what we would have done is we would have tried to wall behind these areas, making second layer walls. Basically anywhere. This is one of the reasons why in team games, I think you really want to keep a compact base so that you can create some of those second layers of walls and keep the archers from just diving in and taking out masses of units, right? That's one of the reasons why doing these small walls and not necessarily walling up these like long sides, because it gets harder to make those second layers of walls in those smaller bases. So, right? Again, thinking about your team game strategy with your allies, one of the things that we're coming through here, right? We did some damage to Red in terms of keeping him, keeping him busy, but we shifted, right? And so, given that Purple's in Castle Age now, we've shifted, and now we're gonna go, right? See if we can do some damage, because we've let him stay a bit open, right? We've let him get to Castle Age, and he's Britain, so you always want to watch out, but we've killed really a number of units here, right? If we check the KD, right? 3 to 19 KD, right? We've taken out a lot of units, and not a lot of that was eco. And now, right? We've done all of this before Bodkin Arrow comes in, so we're getting really, really good value here. And we're just trying to slow down our Britain player here, right? We're finding value. Again, we see the villagers are right there, being very opportunistic, right? My ally here going over, right? He's taking the wood lines. We're taking him here, and we're just doing really an incredible amount of damage now. Getting lots of villager kills. If we check the eco KD, right, it's now 0 to 14, right? Most of that is being done right now because we fought together, we had the military out, and we switched on to the other opponent when the time was right. Right now we're just going in, getting lots of eco kills. You can see, right, he's now down to about 25 villagers. Lots of idle economy. Not a lot of right. I think if we could find where's there an idle eco button? No. There it is. Perfect, right? Yeah, so look at the idle eco, right? His idle eco is really through the roof now. All right, so we're not doing bad here. We're not doing bad. And right now what we're doing, again, we've got our damage in. There's probably no way, given that he has 2 TCs, that we're going to take him out. Swing back around, right? We decide that we're just going to go ahead, swing back around to our red player and make sure that he doesn't have a big, massive cavalry, right? Right, we do see a knight in the north here, right? Just kind of chilling. Some knights out here, right? Trying to deal with the archers. Moving around. I like how active he is with his knights, given that he realizes that my ally does not have ballistics yet. And now we're gonna go in, right? Really juicy wood line here. Gonna try and plug this hole up, right? And also take these 2 knights looping around, because we know that they're gonna want to go back to the town center. Boom, right? We're gonna get some kills in. Again, a little bit of tactical movements in there. And now we're on our red player, causing some idle time there. Right, again, right? He's idle right there. We're keeping him, right, from being able to move out, getting more town centers as well. So, not bad, right? He has some villagers forward. Interesting. Looks like somebody. Let's see if... I wonder if my buddy saw that. I could go backwards, but we don't need to rewind, honestly. Alright. And alright, we're taking a look around, but we have somebody very, very sneaky. Look at these vills come back, right? So he doesn't even want to make more town centers at this point, right? As we do have a monk out here. Very, very annoying. And look at the sneaks. Oh my goodness. These archers. So he can see it. And he does see it. He's got archers in position. But look how fast this thing is going to go up. Bruh, this is the power of Sicilians. The power of Sicilians. So these archers are right there. They're coming in now, trying to help deny it. But look look how fast this goes up. I'm telling you, with ballistics, this thing probably doesn't get up, but my ally does not yet have ballistics. His TC's never going to go idle, though. Good for him. But the castle is up at that point. Oh, no. Right? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, right, you know, we're keeping this army here. My ally is, right, he's kind of busy putting a lot of pressure on red, actually. So we're trying to figure out what we could do. And at this point, right, we have this castle here. A bit of stuff going on there. And meanwhile, right, our purple player is really, he's camped out at home, right? If you're in this position, I think, and you're in this game, what you want to be doing right now, I think you want to try to go forward with this army. Right now, we're on 3 town centers, so we're fairly well protected, and we could go for something like a defensive siege workshop. You can see right now I'm trying to, like, you know, create some space here to sort of keep my villagers safe just in case something is coming, right? And I'll say right now, to criticize myself a bit, having this army just sitting out here in the middle of the map is really kind of a waste of time. Really should be moving around with this army, either going back to purple and attacking, of course. Probably would not be getting a whole lot done there, or going back to red. So again, learn things from my errors in gameplay in this video as well. Also thinking about the castle drop here. This is a good decision for my ally to go try and expand outward into the back of his base. This is a really, really nice castle, right? As, look, you catch these archers on the way out, right? So, hey, you know, you should keep your army active, but a broken clock goes right twice a day. And, right, this is such a nice castle because it's on a hill, it takes away a gold, and it takes, a stone and a gold. So it's just a really, really smart castle there. And, right, we chase these armors back, we kill quite a number of them. But we're going to peace out now and see what we can do. I also think, you know, again, our red player is only on the 1 town center. That's one of the reasons why his idle TC time is you know, pretty decent. But you got to remember, he's only running 1 town center, and it is going idle at this time. Now, meanwhile, look, right, you can see, right, I'm in the blue, and I'm on the way up to Imperial Age. You know, wish that I had a few more villagers on the way up. But I'm trying to amend that now. Well, actually, my opponent's is putting a town center there. It's a really curious town center. I'm not sure I'd recommend 4 town centers. But I'm thinking that I have the knights. I'm gonna be in the next age soon. Let's just go ahead, right? See if we can take this out. Just bank on the fact that maybe he doesn't have murder holes, and see if we can take this thing down. Trying to get some usage out of this army. We're going to get +4 armor. We're going to get Cavalier. All that's on the way. And well, right? We're just doing a bit of an exodus. I think that if I'm our purple player here, I'd try to maybe castle drop. Maybe. I don't think that's a great solution because I can just move out here. But you could, a smart castle, I mean, if you could get it wedged down right in here, oh man, that would be really, really good. But he's going for the forward town center. I'm not even sure if he had really scouted my base. Come to think of it. He knows where I am, though. He should know, at least from his allies' vision, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm going for that. Maybe he wants to take my stone here, because we're getting a town center up here, right? Trying to make some bills. And, we've gotten rid of the castle now, right? And, right, we're going to go, you know, we have a castle down here. Purple's army wants to come forward, but we are very much ready for that. And we have the Cavalier. And at this point, right, the GG is just called. Our opponents just realized that they're not in a winning position. Our red player lost a bit too much. It's been on 1 TC this entire time. And that's just going to be it, right? And so the game is called. So in the end, reflecting on this game, thinking about this game, I think the 18 pop scouts with Lithuanians is a really, really nice strategy when you're playing 2v2s, because so oftentimes you have to be kind of flexible with your army comps, and they can occasionally play out a bit more like 1v1s, but kind of 2 1v1s on the side. And having the scouts out early can really enable you to take early map control, get a better sense of what your opponents are doing, and understand where pressure is going to come from. And also, when you are dealing with archer civilizations, then you can at least track their armies, try to keep them at home, give yourself time to get walled up, and if you can buy time and make it to the castle age yourself when you have knights, all of a sudden you start to have a really, really population efficient army. And so it's really helpful, especially with Britons. To me, Britons changes the team game meta anytime you see them. I really try to slow them down as much as I can, but it's a pretty effective build. Again, I don't want to go like too much into the gameplay in this video because, you know, team games always play out kind of funny. This is definitely a mixed rated team game, and so, you know, I think that, I mean, the one thing with team games is you never know who you're going to get on the ladder, and so I think you want to treat every opponent you run into as a challenge and somebody who is competent, and you don't want to take anybody for granted, or that's not the right expression. You don't want to underestimate anybody, right? Don't underestimate anybody that you're up against, because you just don't know. Sometimes you get players that have a low team elo because they're just kind of low elo players, and of course, you know, this channel, right? I'm hoping that anybody who's low elo can learn from these sorts of things. Anybody who's mid elo can learn from these as well. Hell, anybody can learn from this video. And sometimes you get people who are high elo, but they just rarely play team games, so their team game elo is not that high. You got to take the opponents as you get them, which means taking map control, scouting, doing all the fundamentals in a team game. That becomes really, really important. So anyways, that's the video for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you can find a way to orchestrate this build in your game. It's very effective as well when you're playing 1v1s. I think Lithuanian 18 pop scout rush is one of the best scout rushes you can do. So with that being said, right, I'm going to jump off here. If you like this video, you've made it to the end, make sure you drop a like. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this kind of build, and also scout rushing in general in the game. Where do you think it's going? Is scout rushing going to be on the comeback as a strategy, or are we just going to see men-at-arms and archers and that's pretty much it? Or, you know, 2 militia drushes for people who do that. Like, what are we going to see now in the meta? Let me know. Definitely follow the channel so you get more videos. But with that, I'm Jimmy James 59, and I'll see you out there in the ladder. Peace.